cast where we're going to be talking about vampires today. It isn't even Halloween. What the hell's going on?
It's spooky season.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think people want it to be.
The spooky season just start in August? Is that how it works?
It's when the white women start putting out pumpkins.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Hey, I'm Ben, voice of Wiz in that one show that some of you may have seen. Joined by Chad. He's also a voice there. What's up, Chad?
Hi.
We've got Liam here, a writer and director for the show. Hello.
What's up?
Yeah. Did you find him? Did you find Liam?
Oh.
Good. And
Where is he?
the director of the most recent episode of Death Battle, Martian Manhunter vs. Silver Surfer. We've got Josh.
Welcome
There
to
he
my
is.
whiteboard.
My favorite post
In
in
the
the Death
empty
Battle
room.
subreddit is I owe Martian Manhunter versus Silver Surfer an apology
I receive them. You are forgiven.
for doubting.
Yeah.
I shit so many times in the lead up to this, and happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah, you did a great
Dude.
job, Josh.
Or
It
happy
is such
to
a good
prove
episode.
them wrong.
I actually do want to talk about Martian Manhunter Silver Surfer a little bit with Josh definitely at some point today. But we also have a community death battle today between Alucard from Castlevania versus Vampire Hunter D, who I'm not familiar with, but is
Me neither.
from Vampire Hunter D. Is his name Vampire Hunter D?
Yeah, his name
His
is D. Yeah,
Why?
Why?
because
Is it?
Okay.
I think it's because he's a
what's-
Dompier, right? Because
That's what I was
he's,
gonna ask. Yeah.
Okay.
you know, they call it. His
but
hand
there's
calls him
plenty of other
Dunpeel.
ones, and I mean,
Yeah.
Or could it? Maybe it's also because he's most definitely the son of Dracula. So
Okay.
I like that the connection is
So-
that they're both the son of Dracula and named after Dracula in different ways.
ways.
Oh yeah, that's fun. If it is because of Dracula, yeah. So
Yeah.
real quick, I there is an obvious joke.
Yeah.
With a character named D that somebody's going to drop during this cast. I know it's coming.
It is coming,
And I
yes.
just want to say, I want to challenge everybody here to avoid saying the obvious joke.
Yikes.
And if it is whoever says it, I will not be voting for your character at the end of the episode.
Gotcha.
I'm putting
Well-
that out there right now. If you say it, I'm not voting for you.
So I'm free to
That's
say
the
it.
challenge. I guess you're free to say it,
I'm
but
not
you're
repping a
also. I guess
Then
you're
you have-
also. I guess you have less of a
And
problem
you have
saying
absolutely no idea the like molecules worth of distance I was away from saying it. Like just the feeling of
it.
like.
See, I
just
knew
the-
Liam was the one who was going to
I-
try to fit it in at
Gonna
some point.
open
So-
with
Well,
it.
oh no. Specific, like I wasn't even thinking, and I was like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But when you said I'm gonna vote for the other person, I like every
Yeah.
rebellious instinct in my body was like, just say it before he finishes the
The
sentence.
sentence. So, yeah.
I'm actually kind of disappointed in myself.
Oh,
I
not
think you
having
showed
done
tremendous
that. I
restraint.
think that
Bravo.
would have been very fun. No, it would have been funnier if I had just.
Well, it will happen eventually, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
But whoever says I'm not voting for you, and if Josh says it, then I guess
You vote
I'm
for
voting
whoever
opposite
Josh-
him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll
Just
figure
hold
it
it
out.
against me until the next time I bet somebody.
Yeah,
I
I'll
might
just be
just say
extremely
it 'cause I think
disappointed
Liam's
in
gonna
you.
need the vote.
Okay, well let's get into it then. So Alucard versus Vampire Hunter D. So here's how this is gonna work. Chad is gonna be
Yes.
representing D. Liam is gonna be representing Alucard. It's their job to convince the jury to vote for their respective character through any means necessary. The jury can consist of 3 seats: myself, Josh, and you all watching this live right now. Oh, hey, check out
I
that
love
artwork.
that
That's
image
great.
of D,
What
like
was that?
going
Mike?
to grab, like just like reaching out to grab his opponent. Just, ow, I'm going to get you.
He's grabbing. Nobody's
His
gonna say it.
sword.
Okay.
His long sword.
I'm gonna just tempt you guys up the hole.
And that's more fun.
He's grabbing the
Um,
Akashic records.
Yes, those. So, and at the end of the show, you will be able to vote for which character you think should win. If you're watching this live, as always, we do the show live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Checking out the chat right now. Love seeing you guys here, seeing all those badges going up. If you are a champion, a member, I should say this early on, we do have the ballot going on right now for the upcoming vote for a matchup for next season. It's going to be a tournament actually with multiple votes, a little bit different from last year.
It'll
So
be
if
fun.
you want to suggest a matchup for the Tournament of Champions to potentially guarantee that your idea gets into next season, go check out the Death Metal Discord and get your ideas in the ballot there. We'll be starting the tournament pretty soon, like in the next couple of weeks, which is very exciting. The ballot's going to be up throughout some of it because it's going to be like multiple like tiers of voting. But so it's going to be a lot more involved than it was last year, and I'm very excited about it. Okay, so let's get to this battle, and we're going to start with Alucard. Liam, opening statements. You got 60 seconds, uninterrupted. Who is Alucard and why is he winning?
Okay, I was actually going to kind of base this off of Chad's Vampire Hunter D intro, but we can still go. So, Alucard is the son of Dracula. He is one of the protagonists of Castlevania. He is a half human, half vampire, and he is insanely powerful. I am fully aware of everything that D has. I have wanted to get D on this show forever, so I'm really not going to be disputing a lot of what Chad's going to bring up feats that are just going to be legit. I'm not going to dispute a lot of that. What I'm going to bring up is the fact that if you go into Castlevania lore, if you dig just a little bit, it is written with the same kind of goal as Vampire Hunter D in terms of feats and in terms of cosmos and scaling and lore and all that stuff. They are more matched than you think. And what the sheer amount of quantity of RPG bullshit that Alucard can throw against D is more than he's ready for.
Interesting. Okay,
I am
and yes,
legitimately
chat.
looking forward to what Liam is bringing to the table because I thought I knew D because I was like, oh, I watched the anime movies, and then
he's like just a sword guy.
And then I dug into the novels, and I was like, it is like he's one of the most busted characters I think we've ever talked about.
Well, let's get to your 60 seconds. I will say yes, chat. Thank you. Alucard is indeed Dracula spelled backwards.
What?
Surprise! Oh my gosh, who knew?
Blow your mind.
I do love that scene from Son of Dracula where they're like, look at the letters. If you go backwards, it's like, no shit.
E-R-A?
They literally spell it out. Yes. So let's talk about Vampire Hunter Dampier, Dracula Jr., whatever it means. Chad,
let's do it.
Who is he?
I also wrote this to not go like full send right out the gate because I got really worried that it was going to stomp real hard. So Vampire D is a 10,000-year-old plus Dampier who mysteriously roams the countryside, destroying monsters and vampires and gods. Son of Dracula, the sacred ancestor, an actual god of the most powerful vampire in existence, D is on an entirely different level than anything he comes across in his multiverse. He's one of the most broken characters I think we've ever seen on the show. Move over, Barbie. He's incredibly fast, super strong, has regeneration, is completely invisible in darkness, has such keen senses he can see the invisible, track everything that's happening in a forest down to an individual bug. He possesses all simultaneously. He possesses a will that is so powerful it can just physically manifest itself and affect things around him and others. And then he's got Left Hand, a parasite that lives in his left hand. Who can manipulate the elements, amplify D's already insane power. There's not a shadow of doubt in my mind that Alucard is getting L.
So, Chad,
Well done,
you would definitely
sir.
say
Well
that
done.
D's power level is really impressive then.
Is insane.
I wanted to, because you said that one feat of him looking around like being able to catch everything in the forest down to the size of a bug. There's another feat where they say that he would be able to hear the fluttering of like a bug's wing if the bug was the size of a molecule.
Yeah.
And like what?
Oh no,
So
and he's like
yeah.
But nothing quieter than that. That's the bottom.
No,
And
no.
specifically
If it was
molecule
a
size.
Gluon, he'd be fucked.
No, it's ridiculous. In like one of the in the respect thread that I was reading, they were basically just like, I think he has a seventh sense. Like, is the best way to describe it because he can just like sense people like across the planet and shit. It's so wild. Like, just
insane.
Yeah.
Gelatin Man, thanks for gifting 5 subs. If you got a membership from Gelatin Man, be sure to thank him. And if you're watching this the VOD later on, you're like, oh man, if I tune in, I could get a live membership from good old Gelatin Man. Maybe I should tune in live next time.
The way that I would like phrase these things, just a slight clarification. I'm not even disagreeing with you, Chad. It's not that he's more powerful than everything he comes across, or like he's like leagues above everything he comes across. He just everything that he comes across, he is +1.
Yes,
Like-
yeah, exactly.
like-
That's probably the
Like
best.
the scope of his stories go from him fighting like he fights like bandits and shit, and sometimes he'll get hurt. But
This
he'll
is-
always
right.
win, and then he'll fight like cosmic space gods, and then also win. And it's never explained why.
That is the weirdest thing. I know. That is the thing that like because at least it's not like it would be an outlier, because in this one scenario it's like, oh, was he amped by
No,
this thing? It's
it's
like, oh
consistent.
no. Oh Lord, there's plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll start with just some easy stuff, right? Because so we don't have to go like right out the gate into the insanity.
Melphis Sky says, cool fact, Vampire Hunter D's artist is Yoshitaka Amano, who did the character art and cover art for the OG Final Fantasy games.
Oh,
Yes.
nice. Whoa.
That's
There it
neat.
is.
I didn't know that.
And this is
Um,
the original movie American VHS.
Oh,
Love it.
the
Oh, you
original
know
is-
what? Okay. I've seen artwork of Vampire Hunter D. I definitely see some resemblance between that and some like classic Final
The
Fantasy
original
game. Yeah,
movie is
I can see
good.
it.
The Bloodlust, which is like an adaptation of I think the second book, is like maybe the best anime movie ever, purely based on like the art style. It's
Wow.
just
It looks
fucking-
so good.
it's so fucking good.
Yeah, this is the kind of more campy one.
yeah,
lot
that's
of
the
purple.
one from the mid 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know nearly enough, if anything, about Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah.
So,
Neither does most people in his world.
Yeah.
all right. Well,
He
is he a vampire? Like, does
He's
he
a
have all the like
Dhampir.
standard vampire,
Dhampir.
or I guess Dhampir? So Dhampir doesn't always have all the same vampire hunter. I guess does he have like the standard vampire weaknesses?
no.
Okay.
And also Damphiers have their own like set of weaknesses. Like, so for example, like I think it's like once every 6 days, like Damphiers get sun sick because they've been out under the sun and their body like needs to regenerate. D has to do that once every 5 years. To show you the difference between like the scale. Sunlight doesn't affect him the way it does others. Like he's been
Mhm.
like usually it's like, stab a Dhampir in the heart. And there it goes. He's been stabbed through the heart, fully pierced through the heart that should have killed him instantly. And then this has happened multiple times. And they're like basically like, well, I don't understand. That was supposed to kill you. And then he keeps fighting.
Wait. Does the standard weakness stuff for vampires exist in that world, and he's just immune, or does it
Yes.
not exist in that world?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like vampires hate water, and holy water and shit. And like just doesn't affect him. In
So
fact,
as a Dhampir, does he have any specific powers unique to Dhampirs or weaknesses unique to Dhampirs?
he has powers specific to D. Because he's ridiculous. But here's what I love you. So you're talking about weaknesses. So like, in fact, it's like so the opposite, that you would think like, oh no, if another vampire, like one of the things they would want to do is like drink his blood, and they'd probably get really powerful, right? Because he's got like super ancient blood. No, his blood is actually poison to vampires. So
Oh, wow. That sounds. How does that work?
Some
Okay.
sort of
D. That's
conversion
D.
system in his
You
body.
don't- there is absolutely no narrative effort to explain anything about D, which is sort of the
Right.
point of his character. He's just perfect. He's like the ultimate Mary Sue. If you're gonna use that extremely like toxic term, that is basically what he is. He can just do anything.
Yeah. Pretty much. And anytime something happens, they will say like, this shouldn't have been possible due to the laws of physics. That's one that gets tossed out. There's other ones that like, and then it just says, but by sheer will, or then they just like come back to the spot and they're like, and he's just gone. And then he just shows up in the next chapter and you're like,
Nu-
All
Nubius
right.
says, I always thought it was pronounced Dampier's.
Dampierre.
Don't
Is it?
care.
It is
At least-
Dhampir, right? Like the original spelling is Dampyr. I think.
PHA, yeah, P.
And this one
P-H-A-R,
is DAMPHIR, I think.
Either way.
Anyway, Gelatin Man,
Like
20 memberships.
vampire
Thank
was
you.
with a Y.
Kage, thanks for the 5.
Whoa, thank you,
You guys are the
Jelly
best.
Man. Thank you.
But I do
Kage.
like Dampierre.
That's
Yeah.
That's
Like-
excellent.
Yeah. It
It's
sounds
the-
like
it's the
a
French
sparkling
one.
water. Uh,
It's the sophisticated French half vampire, the Dampierre. I love it. We
Ed,
need to
Ed
find that
Gardner in the
character.
chat says your arguments won't sway me,
I was
Chad.
about to
I'm
say that
voting
one.
Alucard.
Well, okay, let's talk a little bit about Alucard.
We'll
What's
see.
Alucard bringing to the table?
So Alucard,
Against this apparently overpowered D.
here's the thing. You know what's also overpowered? Japanese RPGs. And it just is a little. It takes a little bit more digging than Vampire Hunter D feats, which are just D cut space. Okay, well, you know who could also cut space to attack instantly? Death in Castlevania. Death is a recurring boss in Castlevania, is the embodiment of all death. And the death of all concepts. And it is explained in the lore that he can kill anything, including distance, in order to make his attacks land instantaneously. And Alucard, just to start off, can kill death. He can kill the embodiment of death, and keep him dead for hundreds of years, even though his attacks land instantaneously. Is this backed up in the game? Is this shown in the game? Of course not, because it's a fucking video game. But when you dig into the lore, you find just oodles and caboodles of shit like this. With Alucard killing people like the embodiment of death, which should be impossible. Stuff like that can actually match up with D. And I'm saying this, I'm not denying any of the crazy shit that D can do, but there's tons of stuff with Alucard. But let's start off a little lower scale stuff that you
just to jump in with that. I just want to talk about the death thing real quick, because you know that Alucard defeated the essence of death itself.
Yes, yeah, they can both
sorry,
do. They can.
Sorry, D, yeah, also defeated, the essence of death.
Alucard defeated the essence of death too, Chad. Okay, so Alucard's got the Alucard sword and the Alucard mail, which are both really strong and powerful swords and armor. He's got the Astral Dagger, which can be summoned from a different dimension and will home in to its target. He's got the Stone Sword, which will petrify you immediately. He's got the Jewel Sword, which will turn any enemy it touches into money, into jewels they can just pick up. He's got the Mourn Blade. That's Mourn with a U and an E, which can absorb the souls of his enemies to heal Alucard. He's got the Blood Cloak, which can convert any damage that he takes into MP, into like hearts, Castlevania hearts, which just fuels his magic. He's got the Duplicator, which can duplicate any piece of equipment he has. So if he throws out like one cross, it'll create two. All the classic Castlevania sub-weapons, the knife, the axe, the Holy Cross, the stopwatch, the Holy Water, the Bible, the Rebound Stone, which bounces around, the Agunea, which is that lightning bolt attack he has, and the Vibhuti, which I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced, which is that like salt that he throws, which looks really fucking lame and limp in Symphony of the Night, but it like it disintegrates any unholy being that it touches. And he's got the Life Apple. And again, this is an argument that we come up against with a lot of JRPG characters. He can hold up to, I think, like 99 life apples, and they bring him back to life instantly upon his death. So D would need to kill him multiple times, a bunch, in order to put him down for good, if he could at all. Because chaos beings in Castlevania are... Look, on the NES, it's just a Frankenstein and a mummy and a werewolf dude. And a little hopping imp guy. By the year 2008, they had stuffed this fucking series with so much bullshit, we're going to get into it a little later, that it's absolutely nuts. In terms of powers, he has classic stuff. He can sprout wings to fly, he can teleport, he can turn into a bat, a cloud of mist, a really cute wolf. His ice spells will freeze you down to absolute zero.
He's killed a lot of wolves.
His poison melts flesh on contact. He has spells like Soul Steal, which can instantly absorb the souls of any nearby enemy. He can summon spirits, knights, axe lords, medusas, bats, demons, fairies which will drop healing items for him constantly, ghosts which will attach to their enemies and drain their life force, and that big sword thing, which is just cool, and it makes an awesome fucking sound. I just like it. And he has the shield special, which combines all of the magical spells of all of his shields together to make him completely invulnerable to any kind of magic or anything that he interacts with in Castlevania, which is a lot. It'll passively deal damage, and it absorbs the life of his enemies to give it to his own. That is all of the relevant. There's a lot more, That's the
I know.
relevant.
What's so
equipment
funny
that
is like I didn't want to
recommend.
interrupt you, but as you're going, like every
Yeah, yeah,
single
yeah.
one of those, I had a checkbox for a counter for
Yeah,
every
yeah,
single.
So,
So like,
interrupting real quick. Thank you, Liam. Unfortunately, I was only half paying attention because somebody in chat mentioned, the Dampier is a Balkan legend. And it suddenly sent me down a very brief, quick and dirty research hole to find out that Nubia
What
is
kind of
actually
hole?
partly right. It is pronounced Dampier.
Dampier.
Here.
Dampier.
Yeah.
That's its original Serbian pronunciation,
Gotcha.
according to my very
Like that.
quick research. So thank you, Nubia. We have been wrong all this time.
Yeah. Okay. Let me respond to a couple of the bigger ones because there was a check for every single one. But let's see. Soul stealing. People have tried to steal his soul before. There was an attack designed to steal D's soul, and then he was just like, nah. And to back that up too, he was once hit with the power of 1,000 souls and was fine. Whatever that means. You're talking about freezing him to absolute zero. He fought this god who had this attack that first encased him in pillars of like plasma and flame that was like, incredibly ludicrously hot. Then after it hit him with where he got put down to like negative 400 whatever degrees, it was absolute zero. It stated, and it's like his molecules should not even have been able to move. And then he like had his cloak up like this, and then it was just like, the ice is gone now. It just falls away, and then he's fine. So he's survived extreme heat, extreme like absolute zero as well. And yeah, absolutely has resisted any attacks that have tried to steal or destroy his soul. It's
Chad, do D's powers let him transform into wolves and bats and things
he
like
doesn't really transform other than like he kind of does a little wing thingy to fly.
It's like his cape can kind of turn into like
it's like he pulls up his cape, and I don't know, it's probably like part of his magic. He's got a little bit of magic, so yeah, he doesn't need to. He just kind of needs to just swing his sword at something. And I'll talk about some fun stuff. So like one of the things that I thought was very funny was, so he has a twin brother named Fake D. They're the same person, but somehow D is somehow better. It's one of those.
It's called Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, right, exactly. And Fake D threw his blood so hard that it shook a tank, which I was just okay. However that works. D can throw objects fast enough that they ignite. He can cut through like literally anything. Oh, that's the other thing I want to talk about because you were talking about the shield. So there's like so many examples of being like, oh, like a blacksmith looking at this thing and be like, nothing could penetrate this, and then D's just like, boop. Or like, they'll be like shooting something with a laser, and it would be like, it would take this laser like 5 days to get through this ginormous plate or whatever, and then D just fucking slashes it. But then my absolute favorite one is, and you're gonna love because this is gonna give you an example of how they explain shit.
Sorry, so I missed it. D's ginormous what?
Sword.
Okay.
You're not gonna get me. So he was fighting this opponent with this like microbiological exoskeleton or whatever, and it straight up says that he stabs this dude through the lungs, and it straight says the laws of physics said it was impossible to penetrate the armor, but D was able to do it thanks to his skill as a swordsman. They didn't even like thanks to like a magic blade or anything. It's like, no, he's so skilled. His stab defies the laws of physics to penetrate things that are unpenetrable.
That's a good swordsman.
That's
pretty well.
That's a damn good swordsman right there. And I mean, like, and to back that kind of shit up, so when left hand, basically, it's really gross, but it like consumes stuff, so it can like, it's just got a mouth in his hand, and so like it'll like suck up fire and water, earth, wind, and not create Captain Planet, unfortunately. But when he like kind of stores up those powers, and can amp D's power as well, and so. He gets put into a like black hole chamber, and they specifically state to be a black hole, and then they're just like, oh, the pressure's increasing, like bones are crunching behind him, and then it's just like he just takes some power from Lefty and then just stabs the black hole, and it explodes, and then everyone's fine. because
Called Lefty.
his name is Left Hand, but Lefty is easier to say.
Everything
Also,
about
I
Vampire
don't
Hunter
like
D is just like half the stuff you're saying is just like,
I
is this an
definitely
innuendo?
can't
This is an
imagine-
innuendo, right? Like that's the intent, right?
Well, yeah,
Like,
his left hand
I
has
mean,
like
he
a
is
face
part
and a mouth.
vampire.
So like he has like eyes and a mouth. So like, I mean, if my hand had like eyes and a mouth on it, I'd probably be using it all the time to suck lots of money from like people walking by. I would just suck the money out
Right,
of their wallets,
Mhm.
just, and
It's
I'd get it like that.
convenient.
Yeah, like right there, that really
I-
blurry, not difficult at all to see thing right there.
sorry. Well, it'll look better on. It looks better on screen, I promise.
Well,
that has always
thank you,
schemed me
Vamalator,
out.
for
Think about, like,
the 20 memberships.
Yeah, grabbing stuff, and then also before that, Kinjarex dropped 10. Thank you guys. Um,
Yeah.
It can
Okay.
it can spit
Yeah.
too, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like-
Oh yeah.
like-
It can shoot
like,
things
yeah.
out, and I think it actually does. I think in this movie specifically, it like spits.
Yeah.
It's just
When does it
gross. I
spit?
think about like holding things, and I'm like,
Yeah, you would just be like, there you go. And grab onto a sword.
Does it
like
just
that.
eat anything? It just like sucks it in?
it can suck
Yeah,
it in. Yeah.
It's like Kirby.
yeah,
Mm,
Kirby
Mhm.
hand.
Kirby hand.
okay. So,
So-
you probably wouldn't want to use it for certain things.
Yeah, probably not. But so it destroys a black hole with a sword thrust. He's like cut rifts in dimensions, and every time it's just like it's like you don't have like even Lefty specifically was like out of power to amp him with, and then Lefty is just like just on your this girl is like in the Milky Way or something, and D needs to get there, and then Lefty's like, even though I'm all out of the elements, like I believe that you can do it on your own, and then D just goes okay. And then slashes a rift in a dimension to get where he needs to go.
Okay.
And we haven't even gotten to like his super form. So there's so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely. I would say that a lot of that stuff also applies to Alucard.
Okay.
And the piece of context that you need to understand about Castlevania is that because all of the combat happens in Castlevania, like within the castle and fighting other creatures of chaos, the rules are contained to them. Like what I want to say is, if you had a human, like just a regular dude with a gun walk into Castlevania, he would be completely incapable of dealing with any of it, because creatures of chaos, and this is stated, are not affected by the laws of the human world. This idea that like they aren't affected by physics, as we understand it, is a consistent thing in Castlevania. It's just because you only ever fight other creatures of chaos, that it's never it's not like a core part of the gameplay. It just seems like you're fighting monsters. But all of the creatures of chaos are stated to be completely invincible to anything but like specific holy weapons created to kill them. They are completely invincible when drawing on the powers of chaos. And
Even
what
the
is
goofy
chaos?
mummies?
yes, even the goofy fucking mummy, even the hippity hoppity monkey guy. You're like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. In Castlevania 1, the most annoying enemy ever. The Frankenstein, completely easy to deal with. The hippity hoppity guy, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
Not gonna deal with that. I'm gonna skip that as much as I can. Run away.
Absolute
Your
god.
hallucination. Your hallucination has a membership. Fortunately, it is not a hallucination. It is real. Skipped it one.
So what is chaos? Chaos is essentially the devil in Castlevania, and we kind of explained this in Ganondorf versus Dracula. Chaos is a primordial being. He is stated to be the opposite of God. Where God created all of creation, chaos is his counterpart that lives in, I forget what it's fucking called right now, but it's something like the Chaos Dimension. But it's in an entirely separate universe that is connected to Castlevania. And Chaos essentially picks an emissary to act on his will and sort of use his powers in the mortal plane, and that is Dracula. And eventually Soma Cruz. Who's the reincarnation of Dracula when he didn't come back to life as Dracula. He reincarnated into a new being called Soma. And Alucard was capable of fighting and defeating Dracula as early as like the 1400s, and it's stated that like the characters in Castlevania get more powerful over time. The vampire hunters get more powerful. Each successive Belmont is more powerful than the last. Dracula gets more powerful, and Alucard got more powerful. And the most powerful being in the series is Soma Cruz. And Alucard is capable of keeping up with him by the end of the story. So let's go over some aspects of creatures of chaos. Alucard himself is a creature of chaos. Everything that is connected to chaos is the same kind of basic race of being, and the same, like, the laws of physics apply to them in the same way that others do. So there's a lot of, like, there's a lot of scaling you can kind of connect Alucard to, because of the fact that he is born of Dracula, and made of that same energy. Let's see here. Of course, he's immortal. He is capable of creatures of chaos are capable of regenerating and resurrecting endlessly, either resurrecting over time, which wouldn't apply to this battle, but regenerating, like, literally in battle. You see the enemies in Castlevania, like, talking like basic bitch enemies that you fight in, like, the manga and supplementary material. Their bodies will be completely destroyed and they'll come back. Their souls will be completely destroyed and they'll come back. What's a great one? This is a way of describing, like, chaos beings in their entirety. The energy that Dracula offered them deformed them and divided their being into different deformed avatars, free from the concepts such as pain, time, or existence itself. By the laws of traditional physics, Castlevania enemies and beings, chaos beings, beings that are come from this primordial devil being from another dimension, don't properly exist in the same sense that a lot do. Now, I say this fully knowing about D's feats and knowing that D can absolutely fight enemies that don't exist. I'm bringing this up in order to put them on the same level, in order to put them in the same ballpark that they can, in fact, interact with each other. I don't think that that alone is enough for Alucard to beat D. But what surprised me when I went into a lot of Castlevania lore is that a lot of this stuff it matches the same kind of concepts that Vampire Hunter D plays around with. He can reshape his body. Alucard can kill enemies that are intangible, non-corporeal, again, abstract beings like Death. Death is, like I saw, that's the same, I'm looking at the same quote, makes them conceptually non-existent. Let's see.
So there's a lot of higher level.
There's a lot of higher
cosmic,
level,
I guess,
quantum
sort of.
The magic in Castlevania is stated to be like an impossibly complex application of quantum physics that doesn't make sense in our world. They're like the book enemies in Castlevania were written by other chaos beings, and they were written with the fates of their enemies in them. So, like, these demons would write, my friend Joe is gonna fucking die because I hate him. And then they would die, and that's what those books, the book enemies in the Symphony of the Night library are.
Is it that the books are, like, sent out to kill their enemies?
No. Whatever you write in the pages of the book, they are death notes.
Gotcha.
There's just a bunch of death notes floating around in Castlevania. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's come back to this in just a minute, but I do want to take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. Before we do that, though, I did notice a surprising, when you brought up Chaos Dimension, there was a surprising amount of Skylanders rep in the chat, which I was not expecting. Yeah, because the main villain in there is called Chaos. So if you guys want to vote on this while we're doing this ad read, go for it. Okay, let's talk about this episode's sponsor, which is HelloFresh, something that maybe vampires aren't going to be very excited about, but you guys will be. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. You ever wish that you could spend less time planning, shopping, and cooking and more time doing, what you want to be doing? Hunting vampires, I guess. from easy time-saving breakfasts and family dinners to kid-approved lunches and snacks, HelloFresh has it all. Seriously, guys, like I've tried HelloFresh for a long time now, and their selection has only grown over the years. It's really impressive. Plus, with their quick and easy recipes and 15-minute meals, you can get a tasty dinner on the table in less time than it takes to get takeout or delivery. And again, when it comes to to options, more is more, and HelloFresh knows it. That's why their menu includes 40 recipes and over 100 add-on items to choose from every week. Those can change over the weeks. There's just so much. There's a lot of stuff to choose from, and I'm personally not a big fan of cooking, so HelloFresh is like a freaking lifesaver for me. So go to HelloFresh.com hellofresh.com/cast50. Use the code cast50 for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, go to hellofresh.com/cast50 and use the code cast50 for 50% off plus free shipping. Thanks again to HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. All right. So I did say I wanted to talk a little bit about Martian Manhunter Silver Surfer since Josh is on here. I know there's still a lot to talk about with Alucard, Vampire Hunter
Oh,
D,
yeah.
but I did want to bring up like if you haven't seen Martian versus Surfer, there was a very specific sort of direction you wanted to take with it, Josh, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Similarly with these guys, it's like, Martian and Surfer are such crazy giant cosmic beings. They're like crazy powerful. And I think the thing that's always made those characters cool is like their personalities and like what they've been through, their tragic backstories. So like, yeah, when we were talking about all the different aspects of this episode, it was like, how do we make it really like character driven, personality driven, and infuse that into every sort of aspect of the show so that you kind of fall in love with the characters for who they are, as opposed to like some of the crazy stuff that they've done, which obviously we want to talk about, but it was about finding that like great balance, and everybody kind of pitched in to help us make sure we like struck that balance. And I think we did it pretty well. I'm really happy with how it all turned out.
Yeah, we definitely spent a lot of time in the writing phase, like really hammering together like how it ended in particular. I don't necessarily want to spoil the ending just in case anybody here hasn't seen it, but the ending is very unique for the show. But
Yeah.
also at the beginning, there's like a sort of noir style, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the deal with that?
That was
That was your idea.
Well, yeah, but Liam talked a
Gelatin
lot
Man
about
with
like
another
the
20.
detective aspect
gracious.
of. Liam talked a lot about like how cool like the detective aspect of Jean is, and like so it was a really fun way to like inject some mystery. Like, why are they here? They both have a sense that they've been summoned here, but they don't quite know why. So like getting to do that throughout the fight was really cool. And I think at one point Luis and I were like almost like shy. Like we were like, should we do the opening in black and white? And then Luis was like, yes, I was thinking the same thing. We were like, okay, cool. Opening black and white with like that film stock kind of look and everything. Like the more we thought about it, the more I think we gradually got to like that pure noir style opening, even with like the titles and stuff. Because it just kind of made sense that these two would be like trying to figure something out the whole fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that I love with Death Battle is just letting each director kind of just play with their episodes and, do something special if they want to. And I know this is a matchup that you really wanted to work on. So it's like, yeah, you've got some really crazy idea that you got, go for it. And I love how it turned out.
Yeah, it was really
so
fun.
much fun. Yeah. It was a very fun episode to put together, especially since like I personally am not super familiar or was not super familiar with Martian Manhunter or Silver Surfer beyond some like tangential kind of appearances. Like Martian Manhunter was in the Justice League cartoon. I kind of remember him from that. There was that
Yeah.
one sad episode where he's like, I don't have a family. So Clark's family invited him home for Christmas.
It's
I
a
remember that
great
one.
episode.
But I didn't remember much else outside of like that. So it was really cool kind of relearning or completely new learning these characters' stories and just how big and weird they get, right? It's definitely a very unique but also classic kind of sci-fi superhero genre. I guess both of them come from that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that the noir thing is such an aspect that we like just never have barely been able to touch on in Death Battle. And it's such a cool hook for Jean's character. It is not used very well in the old Silver Age comics. It's always like, I'm on the case and I have to beat Bugsy Malone, and then I'll just use my Martian powers to make him shit his pants and go to jail. And it's always like that. And then, oh no, somebody lit a candle near me. Oh, fuck. And they have to deal with the fucking candle. It's in every single fucking issue.
And also-
yeah.
Of all the episodes to do this on, from like a book cover perspective, I would have never expected that. You know what I mean? Like Martian Manhunter, Silver Surfer, space god fighting.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
and so that was a nice surprise that I think also helped add some extra charm.
But there was also that too, like, because we talked about it for a second. I think of like, should we do the whole thing noir, like the whole thing black and white, which I think would have been cool. But I also feel like because they're such cosmic beings, we needed to see some like colorful cosmic space stuff. Like I would have been
Absolutely.
disappointed as a viewer if we didn't get to see some like really pretty space stuff
Yeah.
in full
Yeah.
color, vibrant color. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
especially
job, Josh.
that ending.
Yeah, he
Ending
made everyone
is
cry.
gorgeous. Yes, and everybody.
Excellent.
Yeah, shout out to the Vizpost team, our effects team, and Unreal Engine team. Everybody praises the animators, of course, and as they are well deserved the praise. Like, our animators are our rock stars, right? They're phenomenal at what they do. But like the effects team is a completely different team. It's a bunch of different people with their own set of skills and incredible talents that are brilliant at what they do, guys. Like they can make some of these fights look so freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
So definitely shout out to them. Is that is absolutely why one of the big reasons why the episode looks as good as it does. And man, you guys, you're not ready for the next one. You might think you are. You are not ready for it. I'm not gonna say anything.
It was a fun one. It was a fun one to write.
Yeah,
I can't
it's
wait
a
to
lot.
see it.
It's a lot. All right, let's get back to these. Let's get back to these
Haha.
Yeah.
Feats.
and fighters. Yes.
Yes.
No.
Perfect.
It sounded like you were going to say something else. Were you going to say something else, Ben?
Was I? I
Sorry, it was
mean,
like a weird
I don't know.
pause.
I was kind of waiting for one of you to maybe, take things up and move along with D's.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, here we go. So we can talk a little
Totally.
bit about speed. So like non-amped, he's easily faster than light. You see him dodge lasers and stuff all the time. He also was like deflecting and dodging a character who is literally stated that he blasts beams of natural light. So easily faster than light, and that's just in his base form. Should I get into full vampire stuff now?
At this point,
Liam?
yeah, we're in the last 20
We
minutes of
haven't
the show,
been
so go
in
for it.
full vampire.
No, this has all been.
But he's not a vampire. He's a dumb beer.
Well, yeah. So this is all just been his Dhampir form, and sometimes amped by Lefty with the elements. So all he has to do is drink his own blood.
It's
I don't know why that
poison,
works.
though. What?
Poison blood?
But not to him. To him, it's the opposite.
Is it
does
like
what
the
you would
taste of
think.
blood is like a shark thing where it activates his full like abilities or something? Or does it
Yeah,
have to
and so-
literally be his own blood?
No, I think he can drink, like he can do other blood.
You can drink
but
any
it-
blood, right?
Yeah, I think it's
Okay,
like that. and then
okay.
it's like
So he
turns-
drinks blood, and what happens?
he goes full vampire, where his power is amped and everything is amped exponentially to the most stupid, broken, cartoonish degree.
Like, it
I'll
can be
give
his
you-
blood or somebody else's blood.
Yeah, I think it could be someone else's blood for sure. But either way, the easiest resource for him is his own blood. He's just like, and then I'm full vampire.
Okay.
So he's fighting this dude who's holding a thing that I'll get into in a second that like has control over all space, time, and reality. And the guy is like appearing to be like 30 feet in front of D, but it's stated multiple times he's actually an infinite space away. And D, in full vampire mode, shows up 6 feet in front of him, and the guy's like, "What the hell? I know it makes now I think you're 6 feet away, but I know for a fact there's an infinite distance between us." And then he's looking into space, time, and reality and going, "Wow, he's still gonna cut me. He's still gonna strike me down." So he literally tells D, "I'm now currently rewriting reality where I know you strike me down, so you won't even be able to." And then D is in front of him and cut him. So D
Wait,
crossed
what?
D crossed an infinite space while
Mhm.
this guy is rewriting reality that D can't actually cut him, but D just does it anyway because D and full vampire.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Pretty tough.
Like, what?
And so the other thing about that, so the
Wait. So if he did not bite himself, he wouldn't be able to do this.
yeah, but it
Is he
doesn't matter.
full? Is he full
Okay.
vampire form for however long he wants, or
Yeah. How long does
Yeah,
it
I
last?
believe so. I didn't see anything about time limit.
so he just chooses to like?
I think it's just
go
that he'll
back
just
to-
like chill and calm down and then like get out of it. I don't know.
Alright.
Is it like a berserker mode, sort of?
Yeah.
I mean, he's always pretty chill and calm. His eyes like glow all red and shit.
He does become more like fair. Like if you watch Bloodlust, it does become more feral. His teeth grow longer. He goes
Yeah.
"Rah!" and he's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
starts going.
Somebody
he
in
starts-
somebody in chat mentioned that when vampires do it in Vampire Hunter D, they become animalistic, but he doesn't. So
Yeah.
but he becomes more.
D is kind of like
vicious.
Gohan, where he has like the benefits of being a Saiyan, but without the limitation, or with like extra stuff because he's
Right.
he's half human.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the thing that I was
So
talking
Blade.
about, the guy was
Yeah.
He's
messing
Blade.
with.
Yeah.
He's Blade.
Yeah, there you go. It's called the Akashic Records. So the Akashic Records are a record of all space and time in the multiverse. Okay, if you manage to get a hold of this thing, you can change all of reality, rewrite anything to the way you want. You can literally retcon story. It's fucking nuts. And when D is in full vampire form, he can access it and rewrite it. So
How?
so that's it's just what he gets to do in full vampire form. So that's how he actually was able to do that to that guy. The dude's rewriting reality. He goes full vampire, crosses an infinite space, and rewrites the guy's rewrite about him not being able to cut him, and then ends up cutting through the guy. So D has control in full vampire form to, like, he could write Alucard out of existence.
Wait. Okay. Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. There is some sort of record of reality.
It's like
that
kind of like the life
exists.
equation, right? Is that the best way?
Okay.
Like,
The
did you
Akashic
compare
Record
that,
is an
Liam?
existent like religious concept in real life. I mean, in like it's a thing that he didn't invent the Akashic Record. The author of this story did. It's from like Hinduism or Buddhism or something like that.
Wait, sorry. Say that again. What is it called?
The Akashic Records.
Yeah, the Akashic
Or I don't know how to
Records.
pronounce it.
Thank
It's
you for the 5 subs. Kid Rex.
Oh.
sort of theosophy.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck.
But he does need to like travel to them to physically alter the book.
Nope.
Well, all right.
He can just do it in the moment. Like, literally.
A compendium of universal events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent to have ever occurred in the past, present, or future, in terms of all entities and life forms, not just human. So it's just all events, all thoughts, all intentions, and all emotions that exist, and the progression of those throughout all of time.
But guess what? D is the only being, and that includes the ancient one and like everything. Like, D is the only being that doesn't exist within these records.
Why?
Because he's D.
Did he take his name out of it? I vaguely recall something.
I mean,
like
if he can rewrite it, I assume he just rewrites himself out of it.
Yeah, potentially that might have been what it was. But yeah, so he's the only one not in it. But he can manipulate.
Okay.
It.
I mean, this actually is kind of similar to Sun Wukong, who writes himself out of the Book of Names, the Book of Death, or
it's
whatever
like
it's called.
it's actually exactly like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Would this creates a very complex sort of comparison, though, that we sometimes have to struggle with Death Battle. It's like, if the Akashic Records deal with the Vampire Hunter D world, would that matter here? Like, would that apply to a fight with Alucard?
So here's my argument for why it should, and that's that, or when it originally was written, they stated that it controlled just the universe and galaxy or whatever. But then when they expanded, it was like, oh, now actually it actually controls the entire multiverse. So
Okay.
I would argue that if it's affecting on a multiversal level, it would affect Alucard. And one thing I see people talking about, and Liam mentioned it earlier, like, immortality and things like that. Again, because D, aside from even being able to rewrite it, he's just negated, first of all, regeneration. So like, one time he like cut a werewolf so fast it couldn't regenerate, right? Whatever. But then other times it was like he cut this dude who's like insane instant regeneration, and then he was just like, why am I not regenerating? I should be able to. And then it's just like, because D. And then he fought an immortal. So this dude is like completely immortal, has like no fear that he's going to die. And then he uses what is it called? He has a spell that he tosses out there. It's like blood magic thing. Whatever. He uses this and it completely just takes away this guy's immortality and then kills him.
Wait, so he's not using the Akashic Records?
No,
there.
This is just a different thing.
He just has the ability to take away somebody's immortality.
Yes.
Why? I'm having trouble understanding where all this comes from.
Yeah. The writer thought it was cool.
Yeah, that's
Like,
you're probably not going to get an answer, because that is indeed how these stories are written. Now, okay, I came into this and I didn't want to push back on anything. I don't think that D still has access to the Akashic records. I believe it was for Tyrant Stars, and he uses
That's
it at
what.
the end
That's
to
actually what I wanted to
rewrite
ask.
the
Was
ending of the
like,
story.
are these Akashic records like a standard thing for him? Would it make sense, like, if we did not
I also
include
don't
the
know.
Akashic records? Is it something that is it something that he uses all the time, or is it like a one-time thing?
He does not use it all the time.
So,
and there are
no,
stories
but-
after Tyrant Stars where he doesn't, because it would obviously there would be no plot, right?
Oh, but he still has access to it. He's never like cut off from it or anything like that.
No. I actually, it was one of the things I wish I had had more time to like look into, but I don't think it's entirely necessary. because-
Interesting. Okay. So
Yeah.
assuming you can use the Akashic records, I mean, that's ridiculous.
It is
I mean,
ridiculous, isn't it?
does
But-
Alucard have anything that's even remotely like that?
Okay, so we know that there's a lot of stuff similar to like reality warping and shit like that in Castlevania that I've sort of gone over. There is a being called the Lost Soul in Castlevania. It is, and I'm quoting here: the Lost Soul is fate itself, the physical manifestation of fate. Anyone who is near its influence will be manipulated and guided to their unavoidable destiny without any opportunity to change it. It is literally the embodiment of destiny, and Alucard can kill it. Not only can Alucard kill it, that might have sounded like the Lost Soul sounds like a boss. It's a fucking standard enemy in Castlevania. Beings that can affect destiny and fate itself, like the Akashic records, are just fucking standard, like, whippable enemies. That's also. Let's get into some bigger feats. There is a being called the what the fuck is it called? It's the stupidest looking image I've ever seen ever. He's called the Twinkle Rod. It's like a summonable being in one of the Castlevania games. That can like shoot stars at you, and they're like little stars. It looks like a little cartoon thing, and you're like, okay, ha ha ha, it's stars or whatever. Except the way that it's summoned is stated. It says it can pull stars out of orbit. So somehow they're real stars. He's obviously
Okay.
defeated death, who is the concept of death. He has fought and killed Dracula. Dracula just existing, just by appearing every 100 years or so, destabilizes the flow of time. He's powered by the Chaos Dimension, which is an entirely separate universe. And his being just existing sustains Castlevania, which is its own universe-sized dimension. Like, you can literally go in the basement, and it's like, oh, it's a fucking universe. He also, in Judgment, which is canon, it's canon, it's just everybody forgot about it at the end. It stated that, like, the events of Judgment were, like, wiped from their memories at the end there. But in Castlevania Judgment, he is able to defeat the Time Reaper, who is a being from fucking Kid Dracula, originally showed in Kid Dracula. The Time Reaper was able to erase every single timeline in the Castlevania multiverse. Literally in the final boss fight, you can see all of space and time like congealing behind him. He's going to wipe out every single timeline in the multiverse, just erase everything. That is Galamoth, who is his master. That is Galamoth's plan to kill Dracula. Dracula is so hard to fucking put down forever. He was just like, I'm just going to erase time, and that's how I'll defeat Dracula. And Alucard, I mean, every character in Judgment can beat him, but Alucard is one of the beings that can defeat him. He's also able to fight alongside and against Soma Cruz, who is the reincarnated Dracula, who is more powerful than Dracula, who defeats Chaos, who is the opposite of God, who created everything in the fucking multiverse. Alucard is absolutely capable of fighting a being like D and actually winning.
Just not winning.
and winning. If you can, if a being like the Lost Soul is just a regular fucking enemy, then he absolutely can. There is an answer for everything in Castlevania for Vampire Hunter D. It's just fucking harder to find because there's a lot of like Japanese translations you have to dig through. Whereas in Vampire Hunter D, it's like D can shit God out of his butt. It's like, okay, fine, fuck it.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna wait to bring up that feat.
Yeah. That one's
Okay,
one's
so,
Tyrant.
so
Well, I
just
just wanna
wrapping
say-
this up, Chad, if we remove the Akashic records from the debate, because I do think there's an argument to be made that wouldn't actually apply here. What would be like the main argument then for D?
I mean, he's still ludicrously powerful. Even without the Akashic records, he could travel like infinite distance in vampire form.
I
His
thought you said he used the Akashic records to do that.
No, I think that was how he negated being rewritten out of everything. It's a little
Okay.
unclear. Anyway, his vampire form is crazy insane. I mean, his sword can also stretch to an infinite degree. He did that once, which was cool. He can cut through space. He can cut through time. He exists outside of it because of him being taken out of the Akashic records. He's multiple times just through sheer willpower reverted himself if something has happened. He got turned into a sun and then was just like, nah,
I do remember
and
that.
then was back to D. Somebody tried to turn him into water, and he was like, nope. And they were like, well, shit. He was fighting a guy who put him into a dimension of non-existence. And then they very clearly state, meaning that anything that makes it into this dimension instantly then no longer exists. But like, that is just what happens. And then the guy's like, yeah, and that's where I put D. And then this other person is like, I don't think you got him. And he's like, bullshit. I literally unexisted him. I'm going to go show you. I'm going to take you back to where it happened. And then D's just gone and shows up again later. Like, you cannot kill D. He exists outside of space, time, and existence and can rewrite the narrative. Like, this is one of the most broken characters because it is bad writing. Like, that's all it is.
So I'm getting the picture. D's sword can extend however much he wants.
Yeah.
D can choose whether or not he's going to be wet.
Yeah.
So
his left hand can suck. Yeah.
D's power then.
He's tanking it.
How on earth are D's opponents even like fighting him?
That's when I talk about the +1 thing. He always fights at the level of his opponents. It's always written.
Is there a
to fight at the
reason
level
for
of his
it?
opponents.
Is there a reason why he's just for some reason is always just like +1 as opposed to always +1,000?
He's just D, the mysterious sword.
It's not like Superman where it's like Superman holds back, right? Like he holds back, and that's the explanation.
Or his limited solar energy or anything like that.
That is the explanation for why that is how it is. And he's a nice guy. He won't kill. No, that doesn't. It's just
also,
the attempt wasn't ever made.
I'm gonna toss out two other things that. So just in normal form, he was hit by a spear that had the power of the entire Milky Way behind it, and he was just like absolutely fine. And then also in normal form, he fought a immortal, omnipresent god who had a universe inside of him, and was stated to be able to control or destroy the entire galaxy at will, and D fully fucking cut him from like head to groin in half and won and was fine.
To be fair, Alucard killing the Time Reaper sounds like a way more impressive than either of those. But either way, all right, let's get to this vote. Let's see. We've got some answers from you guys from the community page. So let's go ahead and bring D's answers up.
God.
Dude, D's answer is so fucking big.
All right, Alucard can beat a person who has the power of a single universe, while D can rewrite multiple universes on different planes of reality.
Okay.
Yep.
How about the next one?
What? There's no Alucard answer because it's not.
There's no
needed.
there's no other answer.
There is no other
Because
answer.
It's not needed.
Wow.
He's just that. It's just that clear that he wins.
I
Wow.
told
Wow.
you,
Wow.
Great
dude.
job.
All right.
My mind was blown. I was like, we're gonna get some cool vampire stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
It's not even really vampire related at a certain point.
Yeah,
I know.
don't feel like we've talked about vampires at all,
At all.
frankly. All right. So the poll is up. Go ahead and get your votes in. Let's go ahead and get the first vote in, which is the community poll from the community page. Let's go ahead and bring that up.
oh,
Wow,
look at
okay.
that.
Well, despite all
there's
of that,
there's that popularity. I'm sure a bunch of people are like, who the fuck is Vampire Hunter D?
that's fair. That's fair. Alucard takes the first vote with 85% on the community poll. But of course, we do have the poll in the chat coming up pretty soon. All right, Josh, it's you and me.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I mean, I think in the beginning I was pretty firmly on D, and as we've gone on, I'm like, I'd still definitely want to, like, maybe we should do this. Like, this would be such an insane
love to do this
fight.
one.
This
Yeah.
would be crazy. But that being said, I mean, plus your enemy's +1. He can take away people's immortality. It doesn't exist. Like, probably D.
Okay. Okay. Oh my God.
I was so good, Ben. I didn't say it once.
That's true. That's true. Neither did Liam.
True.
Okay, so the only thing that's kind of keeping me from just straight up voting for D is I do feel like the unexplainability of D is making me kind of question how all of this would really apply. And part of it, I'm sure is just because I'm not, familiar with D. I've never watched or read Vampire Hunter D. And maybe if I did, like, it would all click. But
It's just a guy writing a fanfic for his own character is the best way to describe it. Like,
I think I'm gonna have to give it to D. But I do want to be clear that I'm kind of torn. But I'll give it
Okay.
to D.
I
All
will
right.
say, dude, he absolutely would have access to the Akashic records. Like, cause I don't think they got like destroyed, right? Because then that would like everything wouldn't exist anymore. And it's
Sure.
he's fucked with them on like 2 different occasions when someone else had access to it. Like somebody else was like in it using it, and then they get surprised by him being like, "Why the fuck can you suddenly like rewrite this better than I can?" Who's actually like possessing it and using it? So like,
And having access to something like that and applying it to a fight means that there is no fight, though, right? Like, there's just no reason to even like have the debate.
That's
right?
what I'm thinking about. Like this, like what are these stories about? If he can just do all these things,
Did we
like,
kind of
yeah.
miss the part where I said that like just the enemies that are like in Castlevania, like basic loser enemies, are embodiments of fate themselves? Like there are
Yeah.
answers to this stuff,
Sort of. I mean, the idea of like an enemy that like controls fate, or at least like leads characters to their own fate, I mean, does create the assumption that if you kill them or you are able to defeat whatever their fate is presented, that you or that Alucard can counter the idea of fate. So
Yeah.
if there's like a destiny versus agency, why am I blanking on what the word typically is? Destiny versus choice of your future, whatever. If that's the thing that's going on here, then I could see there being a counter to the records, but just the way it seems like they're presented
the Akashic
right
records is
now.
presented as like a much more impressive thing, right? Like
Yeah.
but that's kind
like,
of the
why
point
would
that I'm
I-
making.
Why would I even care about the Vampire Hunter D story if I know these things exist? I don't know.
just go watch the second movie. Have a great time. That's the world
Okay.
I lived in up
Okay.
until this morning when
When you were like, oh shit, what is this? All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap up the poll here. And we have our votes with 64% of the vote. D takes it.
Vampire Hunter Dick.
what can I say, guys? D is nuts.
a levee breaks.
Yeah. For something a little more clever, like D's nutty combatants will surely make for an interesting
He is nuts.
episode.
He's crazy. Character's broken as hell.
What the fuck, man? This is this is stupid.
I mean, shout out to Liam for arguing what he did, man. Because like I stepped into Discord today being like, I don't know what he's gonna bring like to be even close to this.
I mean, do you remember our?
You got it plausible.
Do you remember our Dracula versus Ganon episode? We dive into a little bit of the
Yeah.
chaos dimension and the
He doesn't remember.
ridiculous power that's there.
Says
Yeah.
that I write. Doesn't care. I think probably D would win.
Oh,
But, there's a lot.
something
yeah.
is appearing
I
behind us.
knew that would.
There
I
he
knew
is.
that would happen.
There he is. There's our winner.
Yes.
Speaking of winning, Gelatin Man just dropped 50 memberships. Thank you.
Thank you, Gelatin Man. You go crazy today.
Wow.
Yeah, if you get a membership for Gelatin Man, definitely thank him. That's wild.
And go pop into our
Gelatin Man.
Discord. And I saw
Yes.
some people have questions about, hey, I'm in the Discord, but I can't see the ballot. You have to go click the emote in, I don't remember which channel, but someone help
Yes.
with better info.
Yeah.
The mods can tell you, but you have to click an emote, which then gets you access to the channel.
It's in Champions Lounge or something like that. It's under the Champions. It's one of the Champions channels. There's a few channels that are dedicated to just Champions that only Champions can access. You'll find it in there. Yes, and it'll say like, click this emote. It'll open up for you, so you'll be able to find it that way. And again, go ahead and leave your matchup idea there, and we will be taking ideas from that ballot into the Tournament of Champions, which will be starting relatively soon. And we will be voting our way to an episode that is guaranteed to happen in season 11. If you are not aware, the episode that is coming up, Bill Cipher versus Discord, is one of those matchups from last year that you guys voted on. And that is why we're doing it this year, as well as an upcoming episode afterwards, which is Cole McGrath versus Alex Mercer. You guys voted for that as well. An episode that has apparently been a long time coming. A very, very long time coming.
Everyone better go watch that like 10 times each. Like,
I'm doing my part.
Really help lift that one.
Do your part. Yeah.
It was like everybody's response to Mission Impossible. I'll watch it 300 times if I have to.
But it's gonna be fun. All right. Black Swordsman asks, when is that episode? Well, you'll just have to stick around to find out. Maybe soon, maybe later. We still have plenty of episodes left for this season of Death Battle, so get ready.
It'll be one of those. Soon or later.
It will be one of those episodes later this year. Yes, I can definitely guarantee that. No, I'm very excited about some of these episodes coming up. We have some crazy ideas coming down the line. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. What a wild matchup. Let us know if this is a matchup that you want to see. Maybe we missed something with Alucard or even Vampire Hunter D that would make this matchup even more interesting. So if you want to see this as a full death battle, let us know. Feel free to leave it in the comments. We do look at comments, and we do look at there's a poll, not a poll, suggestion form listed under every episode of Death Battle that you can submit ideas to. So you don't just have the Discord submit ideas though through the Discord you can write up a whole thing about why your episode is great, which is always good to read. And we even talk about that in our champion exclusive show, Ballot Banter, which a bunch of the crew does every week, going through the matchups that you suggested in the previous ballots. I have a feeling we're going to do the same with this upcoming ballot or with this current ballot.
I think it's bi-weekly now, but yeah.
Bi-weekly, yes. All right. With that said, thank you all for joining us. Be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be awesome, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Oh, I bet.